Okay, perfect. All right, so thanks everybody for coming to this webinar today. It's packed full of info. All of our webinars always are. So make sure you have a pen and a pad of paper ready for you to just jot down anything we go over that maybe you have questions on, maybe you just want to remember. But I am recording this webinar, so you have the chance to go back and watch it again if you need a refresher on anything we go over today. But first, I want to start off at our Facebook business page. So click on the link I popped into the chat box. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a couple questions during the webinar. So whenever I ask a question, I'll definitely come to this business page. And what I want to do is just, click yes or no when it comes to answering that question. So I'm just going to pop it right here. And if you want to go ahead and answer that throughout the webinar, go right for it. Another thing, if you scroll a little bit down, it's one I posted earlier this morning. If you want to click share on this image, basically sharing this webinar with whoever you want to share it to, it could be colleagues, it could be your Facebook friends, to a specific group, maybe to your business page. If you share this photo today, we're going to give you some goodies at the end of this webinar. So go ahead and go to facebook.com/yourbiztank. All you have to do is click share on this status update, and then you can pick if it's your timeline, maybe to a specific friend, to a group, or to your page. So go ahead and just type in, maybe starting now or something like that, and then click share. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And then whoever's at the end of the webinar will send you an email with something special in it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Perfect. So I know my screen's a little bit on a delay, and we're actually getting ready to get a storm coming through. I'm in Ohio right now. I can hear the thunder, so if you hear these random rumbles, that's what that is. It's getting ready to storm pretty hard here. So perfect. And if I'm on too much of a delay, if I need to slow down, just let me know. I actually have this on 2 computers so I can see myself and how fast or slow my computer's going today. Perfect. Okay, so today we are talking about how to generate that online exposure that you need. And we're going to go over a lot of information, but I'm going to bring it all together as we normally do towards the end of the webinar to wrap everything up that I'm telling you, throughout this next 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm going to leave some time at the end, so make sure if you have any questions, you can pop it into the chat box during this webinar, and I'm going to do a Q&A at the end of it. Because this is such a huge topic, we can go all day just on a specific part of getting you online exposure, but I'm going to give you kind of an overview of all of it today. And some things that we're going to cover specifically are what social sites are going to give you that exposure that's going to, set you apart from other agents in your area. What other real estate sites can you also be on to do the same exact thing? Maybe you want to be on some review sites maybe you've got some really good testimonials, or maybe you just want to show off that, you've got these testimonials, or maybe it's 4 or 5 stars. What review sites should you be focusing on? How to manage all of your online exposure, and then always we give you 5 steps that you can do today to start doing everything we're going to share with you in this webinar. All right, so before we get started, I want to share with you basically a little bit about us and our company. And we were founded by, there's 3 of us who founded this company, and we all come from a real estate background and an entrepreneurial background. We've all, been full-time real estate agents. We all have started and grown successful small businesses, and some of us have also held higher ranks in the real estate world as well, being part owners of brokerages, being national recruiters and franchise development vice presidents, and there's a ton of different titles that we've held. But another part of that is your BizTank side, and that's kind of how we developed this company. We all put our heads together from our backgrounds and from what we know agents and brokers need right now, and developed your BizTank. And essentially what we do is we are a real estate virtual assistant company. We don't always execute it, but we also train it. So we do, a lot of webinars like these. We do on-site training. We do a lot of speaking. We also do the virtual assistant side of it too. So we can actually execute some of the things for you. The only thing we don't do is transaction coordination. We kind of stick to the marketing side. So marketing your listings, marketing you, getting you in front of your sphere, doing social things, doing your blog, all of those kind of marketing tech things. That's kind of what we focus on when it comes to the service side. So that's us in a nutshell. What we really heavily focus on is customizing it too. So all of the webinars we do, all of the services we have are going to be completely different probably than anything you've ever seen, because we kind of customize everything we do. We might have, 10 agents in one specific area or state, but every agent has a different strategy, a different plan, something different, because that is our goal. Because your goal is probably something that's completely different than the agent sitting next to you. So that is what we do. So let's go ahead and dive into this webinar. And first, before we start to dive into the meat of everything, I want to put you in the mind of a buyer and a seller. I want you to start thinking and putting yourselves in their shoes for just a second. And typically, and I'm saying typically because things might be a little bit different, but when a person thinks of buying or when a person thinks of selling, they either use their previous agent, they either ask their family or friends for a referral, maybe they even start Googling for a local agent. And that goes, for buyers or sellers. Now there are many, many other ways people can find you as a real estate agent. Your yard sign, they can walk into an open house, maybe they just walk into your office. That happens a lot too, right? If you've got a prime location, maybe they just have heard your name so many different times, or have seen it, through your branding or anything. They just recognize your name or your brand. And we even get those random cold calls, right? Which are awesome. Those are effortless. So whatever it is, put yourself in the mind and in the shoes of your buyers and sellers. How are they going to find you? And that's my next slide. Why is somebody going to call you? How are they going to find you? Where are they going to get you from? Are they going to find you on social sites? Are they going to find you on Facebook? Are they going to find you just by Googling something and your name pops up? How are they going to find you? Where are they going to find you? And who are you trying to target? Are you targeting buyers? Are you targeting sellers? What is your goal when it comes to online exposure? And I want you to start thinking this way now before we even start to tell you, some strategies and some ideas, because so many times agents will come to us and say, "Hey, Alex, I need help with my online presence. I don't do anything. I have a website, but I don't do anything with it. I just need help. I know I need to be out there." You need to be there, but you need to have kind of a strategy and an idea and a focus in mind when it comes to focusing on online exposure, because there's so many different ways you can do it. You need to ask yourself how, where, why, and who. All right, so let's talk about just Google in general, because if you've seen the things I posted up to this webinar, you've seen me say, the real estate world is highly, highly competitive, because real estate agents and brokers are kind of competing with the same people. And by that I mean agents and brokers and companies are competing with all the other major real estate websites, local brokerages, local companies, and other local agents when it comes to Google. And I'm using Google because it is the #1 search engine out there right now. And if this is a trivia question and kind of a bonus, if you know the #2 search engine, pop it in the chat box and that'll be I'll give you a shout out here in a second. But Google is #1. And so that's what we're kind of focusing on right now. I'm going to use as an example. So when somebody Googles, let's just say, home for sale in a city or a state, you're competing not only with your local agents, your local companies, but national, international companies, because this is a highly competitive industry. It just is. And that's kind of what stinks about being an agent. You know, when you think, oh, I want to be number 1 or number 2, I want to be in those top 5, in one of those top 5 spots when somebody Googles me, you absolutely can. But you've got to kind of hone in and be more realistic when it comes to general things like home for sale in a city and a state. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here in a second. It is possible, but it's highly competitive. I want to make sure you've got some expectations in mind when it comes to just general Googling and being number 1 or number 2. What I want to know have you ever Googled, not yourself, but as a buyer or a seller? Have you ever typed in, Google, home for sale or rentals in or short sales or foreclosure, something like that? Have you ever Googled that? And I want you to, I'm going to actually go live here for a second.
Okay, let me take you back here. I'm going to actually ask this as a question because I think this is something that other agents maybe who couldn't make the webinar probably need to know. Have you ever Googled as if you were a buyer or seller? I'm going to hashtag Google.
Okay. So if you want to answer yes or no, oops, I'm posting as myself. Hold on one second. If you could answer this on our Facebook business page, that would be great because I want other agents to know, what kind of we're talking about too in our focal points here as well. Give me 1 second to post this one more time, and I can actually give you the link to this too. Okay. My computer's a little bit slow. Okay, what I want to do now is take you to Google, and I'm actually going to do this live with you. So here's the question. If you can just comment yes or no, or if you have a specific situation where maybe you found yourself at the top, 5 spots, or however that's worked for you, let me know. Just comment yes or no. And now I'm going to take a second to Google something myself, and I'm just going to use the city and state that I'm in. And so I'm going to say home for sale in Columbus, Ohio.
So I'm pretending, maybe I'm a buyer. But these are the search results that I get when I type in these keywords. And I'm going to walk you through this for a second. So in this pink box here, these are paid ads. So I've got 3 links here that I could click on, and somebody is paying for these ads to show up in these top spots. So this is an option we're going to go over later in this webinar, but I want to make sure you know that's where the paid ads go. Also on the right hand side, all of these are ads as well. Let me scroll down just a little bit. So here are the organic true search results. So Zillow's popping up. You see how Columbus, Ohio is in their link here. Trulia, same thing. Realtor.com, same thing. Keywords here. And then it kind of breaks out a little bit. And it comes to, let me scroll down a little bit. It comes to Google Places. That's what this is here. Google Places and the Google Plus profiles, that's what this section is right here. So you see how it has the top 3, it breaks out into Google Plus and Google Places, and then it kind of comes back to see more search results here down here. So this is your opportunity, and we're going to go over this in just a second, how Google Plus and Google Places can definitely, bring you to the forefront, even though the real estate world is very competitive. You can either buy ads when it comes to just Google searching. You can, put yourself on Google Places and Google Plus. Let me scroll down a little bit more. And we've got some more companies. So Rockford Homes is a builder, Coldwell Banker, ColumbusRealEstate.com. I think this is, let me see. I think this is, can't remember if this is a company or an agent. Let me see. And then if you scroll down more, you've got King Thompson, which is another real estate company, Yahoo, which was on there as well. I think this is the Columbus Dispatch. So the Columbus Dispatch is a newspaper. So again, big companies here. Century 21 is a company, and then we've also got another company here. So not too many, individual real estate agents, right? It's mainly companies and national
real estate related websites. But if I focus here, I've got some more agents and more local companies there. I also want to take you back one more time to these ads, because this ads are also an opportunity for agents to stand out and even companies to stand out. Right here, earlier I was doing the same search and I clicked on, I think it was this link, it looks like I clicked on before. And this is an agent who has purchased Google Ads, who showed up at the number 2 spot, and this is their website here, which is pretty cool. So you can get that exposure. I want to make you know that, but I want to make sure you know it's competitive as well. Okay, now I'm going to take you back to the slides. And I'm going to bit
In this webinar is that building your online presence is essentially a puzzle. And you've got to have all these pieces of your puzzle connected in order for it to work the way it really could and should. Yes, you can you can have pieces of it and still be successful, but if you if you kind of link all the things that I'm going to show you together, it's going to get you more exposure in less amount of time. I'm all about trying to reuse different things in a strategy to make it work, more in the shorter amount of time. So who doesn't want to do that, right? Who doesn't want to save time and get more? That's what we want. So that's what I'm going to show you today. And so I'm going to show you it piece by piece. And if you have any questions or if you want me to go over any details at the end, pop that into the chat box. Alrighty. So let's talk about the different ways, the different pieces of this puzzle we're going to go over today to get that online exposure. Social sites, absolutely. This is a huge piece right now to your online exposure puzzle. Real estate sites, absolutely. Apps and review sites we're going to go over kind of together. We're also going to really hit your website pretty hard, and I might say some harsh things to you if you haven't updated your site in a while, but it's something that I want to make sure if your website's not working, you need to change it. So we're going to go over details on that. And we'll also touch a little bit on paid ads. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start with the first piece of your puzzle, which is social sites, which are your social sites. And I'm going to focus on the major sites, the ones that people are using the most, the ones that are being, traffic drivers and lead generators and getting you exposure online. And that's Facebook, absolutely. And I'm talking about Facebook business pages as well. I'm kind of lumping that together. You should be on Facebook on your personal side, absolutely, but also on your business side. A lot of times agents will come to us and say, I don't need a business page, I've got my personal page. A business page functions differently than a personal page. And we also have some agents who come on and say, I don't use my Facebook for personal reasons, I just use it for the business side. And that's a no-no too, because there are different strategies for the profile side and the business side. So you need both. Twitter. Some people are still kind of scared to get into Twitter, but to wrap it all up and sum it all up for you, it is essentially a website for text messaging back and forth. It's very interactive. You can get a lot of information and you can give a lot of information and get away with that. And Twitter is a huge traffic driver for us and a lot of our agents. So if you're not using Twitter, test it out. LinkedIn, again, this is actually our #1 traffic driver here at Your Biz Tank, which is kind of shocking. I always thought it might be Pinterest or Facebook or something, but LinkedIn is our #1 traffic driver. Pinterest, this is consistent traffic. You don't have to post crazy amounts to get crazy traffic. If you post the right things at the right days and times, people kind of do the work for you on Pinterest. Every time somebody repins or shares or comments or does something with your stuff on Pinterest, it lingers for a long time, if not forever. And so people will, continue to repin and click and go to your website months after you've posted something onto Pinterest, which is awesome. Google Plus, huge. Google Plus is connected to the #1 search engine. If that doesn't say something, it should say, SEO, SEO. That's what it should be screaming to you right now. And YouTube. I put YouTube here because a lot of people
might be scared of putting videos of themselves on YouTube, but you don't have to necessarily do just that. You can do virtual tours or, some other kind of video to get you exposure on YouTube. And let me see if anybody got this right, but the number 2 search engine right now is YouTube. And so Google actually and YouTube are connected now. So if you didn't know that, that's a little fun fact for you, that Google and YouTube are connected. Google owns YouTube. So there have been some changes. If you haven't touched your channel lately, maybe check it out. And see, what the changes are. I actually just saw the chat box. That's why I paused for a second. Somebody said I'm cutting in and out really bad. It might be because of my internet connection during the storm. Let me know if you can hear me. We did have some people drop off. I just want to make sure you guys can still hear me. Just type in yes or no. Okay, perfect. So people can still hear me, so I hope that stays while the storm passes over. And again, we're recording this so I can email it out to everybody later today as well. Okay, perfect. So all of these 6 sites are places that you should be trying out. Not necessarily all of them all at once, but these are things that I want to put on your radar that can help you get more exposure when it comes to your online presence. Facebook, absolutely. Google Plus, absolutely. The other ones, yes, I'm going to say absolutely too, but those are the 2 main ones I would, hone in on for a second because of the reach and the exposure you can get there. But you can also get different kinds of exposure with the other sites as well. We have agents where Facebook is not their number 1, it's Pinterest. And we have other agents where Twitter is their number 1 traffic driver. Their number 1
Gives them way more exposure. So it just depends on what you're doing on all of these sites and your audience and how it's working for you. So these 6 are your focal points. All right, so I want to also reiterate that social sites will give you access to your friends, your family, your clients, either past or present or both, their friends, others' family, and others, your friends, family, and clients, their neighbors. And so this will allow you to keep it personal and keep it local. When you're interacting on social sites, it's more informal. You're not saying, I'm a real estate agent in Columbus, Ohio, and I work with REOs and short sales and luxury homes. You're not saying that specifically. It's not as dry. You can be more interactive. You can be more personal. You can let you show a little bit more. And that is what's going to work for you on social sites. What I also want to mention is social sites equals your sphere. Everybody I just mentioned, that is your sphere. And you can also reach your sphere's sphere. So if you have not tested out social sites to reach your sphere, you're missing out. A lot of times we have agents come to us and say, we ask them what their goals are with, online exposure, and they say, I want to try to reach my sphere. I don't do it enough, or, I've got all these contacts and I don't reach them enough, and I know I should be doing more. And when I mention social media to them, they say, no, I want to work with my sphere. And I have to explain, that your sphere is on social media. That is essentially who you're connected to. Yes, you can connect with other business professionals that maybe aren't in your sphere, aren't in your referral network. Maybe, Twitter, you've got some random people following you that aren't ever going to refer you, but you never know. On some of these things, we get some random things sometimes of referrals from other agents, other states, so it just depends. But what you're focusing on are your friends, family, people in your sphere, and you can also reach your sphere's sphere. I want to make sure you know that. So let's dive into more examples with how you can reach your sphere's sphere. And I know that's a huge mouthful. I keep saying that. Your social goal is engagement, and that's how you're going to reach more people. Every time somebody likes or comments or interacts with your post on, specifically, let's talk about Facebook, you can reach more people that way. We call it
social SEO. And I don't even know if this makes sense, but I think I made up this term, but it makes sense to me. When people are interacting with your post, you're going to reach more people. So let's just give an example. We had an agent who had about 73 likes on her business page when we first started with her. And we posted something for her that asked for that engagement because that's the social goal, right? She got a few likes and a few comments, and it ended up reaching over 200. I think it was like 270 something people. Because that's way more than likes she has. She has 73 likes, and that one post reached over 250 people. I think it was like 270 something. And so that is what we're talking about here. You can reach way more people and get massive exposure with social sites. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So this is another example. So on the left, we had a webinar that we just posted once and we shared it twice, or it was shared 2 times. It reached 190 people. On the right, we posted the same thing, a little bit different. At the next day, I think it was at a different time too. It got 4 shares and it reached 675 people. So this should tell you that it depends on what it is that you're posting. It depends on what time and day, and it also depends on how many interactions and engagements you've got on that one post. And that exposure has been tripled, over tripled, from one day to the next, and the same thing was posted. Pretty cool, huh? Okay. Another example, this was another client of ours who posted a picture of their listing. This is something they did, so you can do this too. I know you can. They just posted a picture of their listing and asked a question. This got 7 likes, 4 comments, and 2 shares, and I think he spent a little bit of money to promote this on Facebook. It reached, at this point, it was 2,700 people. I think he only has about 500 likes on his page, so it reached way more than double. It quadrupled the exposure on this one post. So his name and his business page was exposed to way more people than even liked his page with something like this. This is what we're talking about here. So if you want exposure to your sphere and your sphere, social sites are the way to go. Let's talk about the next piece to your puzzle. We're going to talk about real estate websites. All right, I'm freezing up a little bit here. Let me wait a second. Okay. Your real estate websites that we're going to talk about. Now, there are a ton in the top 10 that we're not going to talk about today. I'm talking specifically about the ones that we've seen and heard from other agents that get you some exposure and have the pieces to your profile that you can add and do things with that will get you some additional exposure. Let's talk about Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, and RealBird. And RealBird isn't really comparable to Trulia because it's not really a search engine type tool, but it is a tool that offers a lot of different things and other ways for you to be found online using RealBird. So let's talk about profiles in general. I'm going to talk in general terms because most of this applies to all of these. So make sure you have a profile on all of these things. A lot of agents we've talked with just recently have never logged into Trulia or have never logged into Zillow, which blows my mind because these are the top, real estate sites that buyers and sellers are using right now. These are all in these. 4 of these are in the top 10. RealBird is kind of a different type of tool that will get you that exposure, but it is a real estate site tool. You can add links to your social sites, your website on all of these profiles. You can also showcase your testimonials, so you can have 5 stars, 4 stars, a list of testimonials. Some of these sites you can even broadcast how many things you've sold, so it keeps your sold inventory there too. This is great for showing off that you're local and maybe you're targeting a specific area. Maybe you target, or maybe you sell a lot in a specific city and you're trying to get more sellers or buyers to work with in that city. That is awesome to use that sold tool to do that. So focus on your profile on all of these sites, because if these are being used by buyers and sellers, you could potentially reach them, and when you do, you want to make sure you have the right stuff in place to impress them to click email or to click contact or to call you from these sites. That's what you're looking for with what I'm talking about here. So when it comes to real estate sites, you could reach buyers, sellers, maybe it's relocation, clients, maybe they're referrals, maybe they're even just brand spanking new leads. And the list goes on for who is going to call you from these real estate type sites. But make sure you're on these sites. You've got a profile, it's filled out, it's got some information about you, it's personal, not too personal, but you know what I mean. It's got some of you coming out in it, not as dry as it, has been in the past. And change it up to make sure you ask yourself, why would somebody call me if they looked at my profile right now? Give them a reason to click, yes, I want to call this person, or I want to shoot them an email. I have a question I want to ask this agent. And it's going to be you, because you're going to do all these things I'm mentioning to you. All right, the next piece to this puzzle are apps and reviews. We're talking about Foursquare, Yelp, Google Places, Yahoo Local, and Instagram. And there are other apps and review sites out there, but I'm just going to focus on these 5 for a second. Foursquare is that app where you can, pick up your smartphone and say, I'm checking into, my office today. I have a meeting or I have a closing at my office. Bam, I'm checking in. And on that check-in, you can either leave it on Foursquare or you can share it with your other social sites. And what I recommend you do here, it's kind of a strategy. Not all the time, not everywhere you go should you be checking in. Some people do, but if you do it, don't share it every single time you check in. Maybe, switch up the ones you'd share and don't share with your other social sites. But this is a great way to show off, hey, I've got closings, I've got buyers, I've got sellers, I'm really, really busy, but I'm always looking for more people to work with because I'm networking, and just showing people that you're in real estate without literally saying, I'm showing a house right now, or I'm sitting at a closing table. You can do something a little bit different with Foursquare by checking into, maybe it's, you're checking into a title company and you're saying, congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Seller on closing their home in 10 days or something like that. So you're letting people know you have a closing, but you're not literally saying that, which is kind of a different way to do it. Another way for brokerages is to allow people to check into your location, and even agents as well. So use it in a couple different ways. Now Yelp, I'm going to try to do something with Yelp with my iPhone right now. Let me know. I hope you guys can hear it. If not, I'll tell you what I did. But basically on Yelp, if you make sure you have a presence, maybe just set up a profile and start trying to get some testimonials on Yelp. And you can, I know there's a ton of different places to get testimonials, Trulia and Zillow and all these other places. So what I always recommend is take it one website at a time per month. So maybe in the month of July, you're going to focus on Yelp. Any buyers or sellers or closings that you have, you're going to push people to review you on Yelp. In August, maybe you're going to target Trulia. And then in September, you can target Zillow. Switch it up so you're not, pulling your hair out when it comes to getting reviews. But I want to show you what Yelp can do, because Yelp is linked with a ton of different other additional apps that can get you more exposure. And if you've got a high ranking, you can get more exposure. And let me just show you what I mean by that. I'm going to ask Siri, find me a good real estate agent, and I hope you can hear what she's going to tell me. Find me a good real estate agent.
I found 15 real estate agencies fairly close to you. I've sorted them by rating.
I hope you heard that. She said she found some real estate agencies close to me, and she sorted them by rating. So if you have a great rating, you're going to be coming up towards the top of the list that Siri just showed me. And I'm not saying it just for iPhones. That's just an example of how high reviews and good reviews can help you in the future. Okay, let's talk about Google Places, and I'm only going to reference the thing I showed you in the beginning of this webinar, where I Googled something and Google Places was right in the middle of my search results. So if you've got good reviews there, and if you are on Google Places, and I think Google Places is actually morphed with Google Pages now, so that's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. So that is where you want to make sure you at least have a presence there and reviews as well. Google or Yahoo Local, same thing. It's only going to help you with your SEO and your exposure when it comes to when somebody Googles you or searches on Yahoo. That's more exposure and better exposure for you. Instagram is part of the the image phenomena. It's like, right now Pinterest is huge. It's all about images and making sure things are visual. It's our visual time right now. Instagram is all about that. There are a ton of people interacting on Instagram, posting things, commenting and liking different pictures. So utilize it. Use it for your listings. Take unique shots. Maybe you have an awesome listing that has a great view of a pond or a lake, or they have an awesome backyard. Maybe they have a pool, or they've got it's a unique home and they've got some awesome architecture inside. Whatever it is that highlights that home, put it on Instagram. Tweak the picture a little bit. It'll take you, 5 minutes or less to do that, and then spit it out to all your social sites and you're done. It's as easy as simple tricks like all of these I'm sharing with you today that can help you get more exposure through different things. Yelp and Google Places is all kind of a one and done type thing. You set it up, you're done, and then push people to, not push, but direct them to review you on these sites. Perfect. Okay. So let's keep going along. The next piece to your puzzle is your website. And this is where I'm going to be kind of harsh on you for those of you who haven't updated your website in a while. But your website is basically your hub. When you think of your website, you need to have one, first of all. Second of all, you need to make sure it's going to work for you in the way that it should. So I'm going to ask you these few questions, and I want you to let me know, kind of, even if you want to write them down or just think about the answer. Have you updated your website in the past 1 to 2 years? Do you have a blog on your website? Do you have a clear brand on your website? Do you offer an item of value or something free to capture leads from your homepage? And that's key too. This could be like a CMA. This could be, free list of foreclosures. Whatever you're using is that thing, that item of value on your homepage. Do you get leads in general from your website? And do you know how much web traffic you're getting right now on a monthly basis? If you answered no to any of the questions on this screen, then hold out your hand because I'm going to tap it, because that's a big no-no. All of these things are things you should have on your website. And again, your website is your hub. So have a website that's functioning properly, that has the right pieces involved in it in order to create the online exposure you need. And then once you get the traffic coming in from that exposure, you need to be able to capture the leads then. So if you've got an awesome website, you've spent time on it, it's brand new, if you're not getting any leads, there's something wrong with something. It might not be the website itself, it might be the traffic's low, or the type of traffic coming in is not the right kind of traffic. So you just kind of have to analyze your website first before doing anything else. All right, so let's go to the next slide. I'm going to talk to you about trends for new websites. And right now, if you're watching this recording, a few months from now, things might be a little bit different, but it's July 2013. And what I've noticed, I actually went on vacation for a whole week, and I came back, and every single website I used completely changed and revamped the look and the things that were involved in their websites. And by completely, I mean completely changed. And I'm going to share with you the trends that we're noticing. It's kind of pouring from the mainstream into the real estate world as well. So we all know simple is better. When you go to a website, you're going there because you searched for something and that came up in the search results. When you click on that website in your search results, you want to get whatever it is that you're looking for quick. So simple is better. Directing people where they want to go immediately, or where they should be going immediately, is key. We're seeing more Pinterest-like pages. So I kind of showed you in the beginning of this video that the agent who paid for the top the second spot on the Google search results. They had a Pinterest-like showcase of their listings. This is becoming a trend. There's a reason for it, because Pinterest keeps people on their website for quite a long time, because you just keep searching through those pictures, right? You just keep scrolling down because it's a never-ending list of pins. And so that's kind of the thought behind using that type of system for your listings. So more websites are turning to the Pinterest-like feel. And most websites have this layout where it's one big image towards the top, across the entire top, and then underneath of it, it's got 3 calls to action. And those calls to action could be different for, you can change them up on most templates. You can even choose what you want there. But that's kind of how it typically works. Now, when you're kind of scrolling around the internet, the next time you're doing that and stumble across a website, you might see the same layout and the same thought process that I'm sharing with you. I just want to give these ideas to you because this might be why your website is not working. It doesn't have the new versions of how websites are working now for businesses. Next is to get a blog. If you don't have a blog on your website, you're really missing out. Was looking up some new stats yesterday on blogging, and people are searching and reading blogs on a daily basis. It is just a given. When somebody types in a question into Google, how to cook a meal or how to do a DIY project of some sort, they type that into Google, and typically what comes up is a blog article. And so if you are looking for buyers and sellers and you say my target market are these 3 types of people, or potential clients, then you should be writing blog topics and answering questions in your blog for things that will target those 3 audiences that you're looking for. So for example, if you're looking for a first-time home buyer, what are they interested in? What kind of questions do they typically have? And then turn those into a blog topic and spit it out over a weekly basis, and you're good to go. Pop that on your website and use it on all these social sites to drive traffic. There's a strategy there for you already. So get a blog on your website that answers questions that people have today in the real estate world. And make sure your website is interactive, it's got all the social plugins, and that people can share your content. Let people do the work for you. If people can share your content, they're doing all that for you. You don't have to post it to Facebook. They're going to do it for you. So make sure you've got all of these pieces together. And these are just the trends that are suggestions. You don't have to run out and get a new website because of the things I'm telling you now. I just want to start getting you thinking of different things that will help you get more from your website. All right, so let's talk about another piece, kind of the last piece that we're going to talk about today. We're talking about paying for that exposure. And we've already talked about paying for Google ads. You can actually pay for Facebook ads, and you can even pay these different real estate websites to get more exposure, to get more leads from the real estate websites themselves. And all of these, Facebook is a little bit different. You can play this game too with Facebook, but basically when you purchase ads, put it in your head that to be ready to play the numbers game. And by the numbers game, I mean you might get 5 or 6 leads today, and maybe one of them, you might get a hold of one of them. Maybe 3 of them have a bogus, phone number or something like that. So it's all about just the numbers. And one day you might get 5 leads and all 5 of them, become clients. And then the rest of the month you've got nothing, but you've got a lot of leads coming in. So the numbers game is just, you're ready to work these leads. You're going to get a lot coming in. You just got to be ready for it. Sometimes, individual agents will do Google ads or Facebook ads or pay for leads to come in. Some don't. Some are just teams. Maybe you're a team and you need leads to supply to your agents. And so that's maybe how you get them to your agents. Maybe you're a brokerage and you pay for these ads to get, same thing to your agents. Whatever it is, it's going to give you that exposure for, to get more web traffic and to get your name out there in a different kind of way. So yes, pay for exposure, pay for those Google ads, Facebook ads, or for your name to pop up on the real estate websites. everything I'm talking about today, it's all about generating a local presence as well. It's not just about showing up in the top 10 list on the Google rankings. It's about having that local presence too. So if somebody down the street, in another city or in a city that you work in, thinks of buying or selling real estate, you want them to think of you. And how are you going to get them to do that? Yes, online is absolutely a huge way you can, but you've also got to think about different things as well. You want to allow people to find you. So making sure you've got those profiles filled out we talked about, making sure you have reviews so that when they do find you on those profiles, they know other people have been satisfied with you and your services in the past. And again, that online presence, that everywhere, all the time kind of feeling. Awesome reviews. If you've got bad reviews, make sure you focus on getting more to get your ratings up. Getting more good reviews, I guess I should have said, to get your ratings up. Bad reviews aren't bad if you've got enough good ones to back it up. Sometimes people even say a perfect score isn't the best score. Maybe that 4.5 is a better score than maybe a perfect 5. So that could be an option for you as well. But use all the review sites that I talked about today. Make sure you position yourself as an expert. So using your blog posts, using the things that you post to your social sites, things that you have and the way that you brand yourself on your website. All of these things need to position you as the expert in that local area. Make sure you're doing that for sure. And also, lastly, be irresistible. You want to be everywhere constantly and be visible so that people, again, when they're just browsing around, maybe they don't even know they're looking for you, they just find you because you're in all the right places with all the right things in place to be found. Okay, so we talked about a lot of stuff today, and we've got about 13 minutes left in this hour, so let's talk about managing everything. I gave you a ton of information and a ton of ideas, but now I'm going to ring it all in for you and kind of give you an idea of how to take it from here. So first, you need a strategy. Ask yourself, what is your goal? Is your goal to target your sphere? Is your goal to play the numbers game? You want a ton of leads. How are you going to get there? And kind of watch this video again and kind of, go by the different pieces of the puzzle we talked about. Create a system. What are you going to post? When are you going to post it? To what sites are you going to post it to? And who is going to do that? Maybe you have an assistant. Maybe you need help doing that. Maybe it's your office admin that's going to do it for you. Maybe it's you. You need a system so that things are consistent and that you don't get off track if it's you or your assistants know what they need to be doing. Making sure you've got your brand everywhere on everything. And by this, I mean your website should have a clear, visible brand that represents you. That same brand, maybe it's a color, maybe it's a logo, maybe it's a slogan, maybe it's a picture of some sort. That should be spit out across Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google+, Google Places, all of your other real estate sites, your blog, your email signature, your business cards, your yard sign. That one thing or those multiple combinations that make up your brand should be everywhere. That is a must. If you're not doing that yet, you need to be doing that now. And if you need help with that, please call us or contact us through our website, and we can definitely help you do that. But we need to make sure that you've got a brand so that you can be visible and memorable to somebody. You would never catch, Target or Starbucks or Apple or even Remax or Keller Williams or any of these other companies on any site without their brand fully represented, right? You're not going to find them, on Active Rain or something without their logo and their color scheme and their contact info in the right spots. And you should be no different. Let's talk about the tools to do everything we talked about today. So if you are going to focus on your sphere and you're going to, focus on social sites and maybe e-newsletters and touching your sphere, then you should be using a tool like Hootsuite to monitor and manage and schedule all of your social interactions. You should also be using some kind of e-newsletter tool like MailChimp or GetResponse or something like that that will allow you to send an e-newsletter out to your sphere as well. If you are looking for new leads, maybe you are using Google Ads or Facebook ads or something like that, and you need to be able to track how that's working, so Google Analytics is an awesome tool as well. Whatever you're trying to do, there is always a tool that will make it easier, and I promise you, you will love it much more, and it's going to be way easier for you to manage and better for you if you use a tool to help you do everything we talked about today. All right, so I've got some five steps for you to do today, right now. So go ahead and, print screen this if you want to make sure you can do all of these 5 steps today and you remember what they are. So I want you to
know where you are right now in order to know where you're going. So if you don't show up in the top, in the first page, the second page, or even the third page of Google, then you need to figure out why. Maybe who is, see what they've got going on, and kind of compare yourself to who is doing it right and why you're doing it so wrong. If you are showing up in the first few pages or even the first page of Google, that's awesome. And so keep doing what you're doing. Just figure out where you stand and who your competition is. Next is create that strategy. What is your goal? Write it down and then build a strategy around that. And then set it up. So set up your profiles, add your branding, get yourself ready in order to execute everything. So again, we talked about linking all the pieces of this puzzle together, and that's what you want to do for step 4, is making sure that on all of your profiles, everything's filled out, everything's linked together. By linked together, I mean, on Trulia, you're going to put all your social profile links there. On your email signature, you're going to do the same thing there. On your blog, again, same thing there. Allow people to find you at different places, but then also get to where you want them to go. So if somebody's Googling something and finds you on LinkedIn, maybe they find your LinkedIn profile. If they find you there, that's not really kind of a way to capture a lead, right? Maybe they can send you an email or connect with you on LinkedIn, but that's pretty much all they can do on LinkedIn if they just Google and find you. So you want them to be able to maybe click through to your website or click through to Facebook or interact with you in a different way. So that's what we're talking about when we say link everything. Make sure everything is filled out on everything. So just clean sweep all your profiles, make sure everything's filled out and linked together. And finally, step 5 is start to schedule all of the things we've talked about. So schedule your posts, schedule your blogs, and schedule times to go in and analyze everything that you're doing. So if you have Google Ads on your radar, try it for a month, analyze it, and schedule a time to analyze it at the end of that month. Maybe you have really focused on Facebook this month. Schedule a time at the end of the month to analyze, did that work for me? Did it drive traffic? Did it get me more exposure? What did that do for me online? And then you're going to start to see that everything kind of fall into place. You'll kind of figure out where you need to go, what strategy you need to work with, and what you need to do after even just 30 days of just doing all of these things I'm talking about. So the first step is just to start getting it started. Start working on it. Even if it takes you the rest of this week to finish out all these 5 steps, that's fine too. But make sure that you spend some time doing this. This is so important to just do right off the bat, that you want to make sure you spend some time doing it right. All right, so I want to talk to you about how we can help you complete the things we talked about in this webinar today. My slide's a little bit delayed, so okay, there it goes. So basically, again, we have a virtual assistant side to what we do. We try to give a lot of good info on our webinars, but we also try to help you execute these things as well. So maybe you don't have time or you don't even know where to start. Let us know and we're happy to help. Again, we customize everything that we do, so if you just need us to help talk you through it or walk you through it or tell you what you should be doing, we can absolutely do that. If you want us to set you up on all these profiles and link everything together, we can absolutely just do that. Maybe you just need branding, or maybe you just need pieces, or maybe you need the whole thing. Whatever it is, let us know. We're happy to help you in any way we can. Okay, I want to share with you a couple of results we've got just recently. I actually
only pulled two because I didn't have time to look up the other ones we just recently pulled. I couldn't find them in time to add them to the slides for this webinar, but two of our clients had some pretty cool results I wanted to share with you. They basically are signed up for our social media package. Essentially, everything we talked about in this webinar is part of that package, and you can choose different pieces of it, but we have everything in one package. And so from starting off and just 1 month, not 3 months, but 1 month of doing this social campaign, just starting it even, from one email we sent to her sphere, she got one new listing and one new rental lead, just from one email to her 500 people in her sphere, which is pretty cool. She got 16,000 social impressions. Again, I think that's actually the same agent who only had about 73 people liking her page. So she still got a ton of social impressions just from the first few months of starting her social campaign, and 7,000 Facebook impressions in just 1 month with only 73 likes. So you can do it. It is possible to start and get some great results right off the bat. All right, so we've got another client as well I wanted to share with you. In just 1 month of social media marketing, she had some awesome stats, and there's a lot here, so you can pause this video and look through it, but I'm going to skim through the good ones really quick. Her overall website visits were up 114% over the last 2 months. That's huge. We had more web traffic for her in just 1.5 months than she did in the past 2 months. Overall Facebook referral traffic to her website, so anything we're posting to Facebook, people are clicking on Facebook and going to her website, that's up 246%. Referral traffic from Twitter was up 600%. She was getting traffic from her Facebook tabs to her website. Her overall page views on her website was up 132%. Her bounce rate was down, which is great, 6%. And her overall social campaign in just 1.5 months was 43,000 impressions. So 43,000 times did her name come up in front of her fans in just 1.5 months. That is awesome. And that is only Twitter and Facebook. It doesn't pull, the tool we use doesn't pull from any other sites. It's just literally from those two. So the numbers actually are higher because of the blogs and the LinkedIn and Google Plus things that we did for her. So it is possible to get results fast if you know what you're doing, have a goal in mind, and you have that strategy plugged into place where it should be. Okay, so the last thing I just wanted to talk to you about today before we open it up to Q&A is that we actually do individual workshops like these on specific topics. If you want a strategy session, as I mentioned, if you just want to talk it out, we can do that. If you want us to come to your brokerage and teach your agents something specific, online workshops like these webinars, classes, and other presentations. If you want to hire us to help you out, let me know, and we can definitely do that as well. So today we went over a lot. So go ahead and pop open your chat box and let me know what questions you have for me, and let me know, first of all, if you can still hear me. I got some responses back saying it's still cutting in and out. I'm recording it in 2 different ways, so hopefully the recording does not have it cut out as much. So we'll get the recording out to you guys. But pop any questions you have in the chat box. Again, I know I went over a lot of information today. I'm actually going to go live to Facebook really quick. Let me take here.
Perfect. Okay, so what questions do you have for me? And while you're writing those in, I just want to make sure to take away the right things from today's webinar. You know, possible. Again, we went over a lot of information, but possible to see some results and to get things that you need to get out of simple things like, just having your focus on your Facebook business page, or maybe your focus is on maybe it's Google Plus or your reviews, or maybe it's Google Ads, or maybe your focus is simply just on your website.
whatever it is, make sure you have that strategy in place, that you have systems to back up that strategy. The worst thing that I have seen is when people, ready to go, they need it, they want it, and they do it really well for about a week, and then they just get way too busy to keep up with it. And that's what I don't want you to see happen to you, because that's why, having a system, having the strategy in place, and even starting slow, that's perfectly fine too. So again, if you're just focusing on your website, getting that ready to go, and maybe Facebook on your business page, maybe those are the two things you start with. Whatever the case may be, just make sure that you've got things in place to do what you want it to do. All right, I'll stop talking for a second and I'll see if you guys have questions for me. Okay, no questions yet. I think I filled your heads too full today. Well, just let me know, and you can definitely contact us through Facebook or even on our website. You can visit us at yourbiztank.com. Again, we have a lot of different options to help you out. However you need it, we're going to be here for you. And I'll stick around for a little bit, but I'm actually going to stop the recording right now, and I will post the recording. Give me about a day or two, just depending on how fast my computer will work during this storm. In my building, it kind of cuts in and out, which isn't the most ideal. So we'll get it up as soon as we can. Okay, perfect. Alrighty.